Hey everyone. Well, I sit here, let's see here, I think it was day before yesterday, would have been Thursday come to think of it, that had a shock on on the sprayer go out. And so everything was kind of crazy that day, trying to get it fixed back up and going again, so I wasn't able to get any video of actually doing anything. But just wanted to show you all right quick what I ran into. Like I say, this on the sprayer. Here you're on the outside. It's a Case 3200. And of course, each wheel is driven by a big hydraulic motor. And it basically has a great big hydrostat up there on the end of the motor. But it was on this right one here. You see it's got that shock. Well, I call a shock inside there. Technically, the back wheels on that one and that one have regular shocks. And I just hose this thing off and I hear water dripping from somewhere. Anyway, I'll probably get rained on here in a little bit. But the front, both sides, I'm not exactly sure how it works. I'm guessing it has something to do kind of with, probably kind of with the level of the sprayer, I would assume. But the shock actually it's almost like a hydraulic cylinder. But it's got these two hydraulic hoses coming in right here. And of course you got one tying in here on this side over here, one tying in over here on this side, with the line running up to that end. And then the lines go up and they actually hook together into like a little junction box up on the side of the big oil tank. But yeah, it was this shock here that broke. And like I say, up here where I got these two big double jam nuts put in there, there's a bevel washer. Well, there's a big thick flat washer and then a bevel washer that sits down into like a little depression in the top of that casting. But yeah, like I say, it was the top piece up here that snapped off on the old one. And well, what that did, when that broke, I heard it. I heard a big pop and I felt it when it snapped. Probably just about like on a vehicle with no shocks on. However, on this thing, it's a little bit different because I was actually slowing down to make a turn, and when I felt that, I stopped and got out and started looking around. I couldn't find anything, so I hopped back in and very slowly just started pulling forward. Well, when I did, I could feel the right front corner of the sprayer kind of coming up like. And it's not supposed to do that. Well, come to find out, because of the torque of this motor turning the wheel, it's on like a pivot here. I'll show you. You got this pivot here on front. You got the big main piece right here, this big square coming down. And you got a pivot right here. Right back here's a grease zerk on this side. Here's another grease zerk. And like I say, this part right here, and you can see the end of it right there, it pivots. And so the whole thing can pivot, and of course it goes up and down on the big spring. Well, what was happening with the shock broke, when I would go to pull forward, I could see from the cab, I can't really see the spring. I can see the motor. And what was happening was the spring was actually spreading apart because of just the torque of the motor turning the wheel. And it was actually causing this right here where it pivots. It was actually causing that to go down and pushing the sprayer up. Like I say, just because of the torque and the rotation of the wheel going around. And so I talked to Case Place up north of me because I asked him, "Can you run without it?" I didn't think I could, and they said, "No, you don't want to," because what could actually happen, you could actually overextend this spring, and the spring is technically not held in by anything. it's got like a little cone deal up here on top that sits down, and you can kind of see the first lip of it into the first coil. Same thing down here on the bottom. You just got like a big round flange, and the spring sits on that flange, and of course the flange is on this main subframe. And they say they told me what could happen. It was very obvious. If that thing should happen to overextend, the spring falls out. And yeah, the spring falls out, and the whole thing, which would mean this part here would literally collapse back up onto itself, and this here would come down onto the motor and break who knows what all. So to make a long story short, Dad went down to another Case dealership that had, well, actually take that back. It was still part of the same dealership that I had talked to up north of me, but it was just another one of their dealers that had this shock. And they had a new shock on hand, got the shock, got it put in, and it works great. And so no more trouble. And just looking at it, the one over here on the left side, I kind of wonder if it might not have been replaced as well. Because this one here, in fact, I'll see if I still have, I don't know, I might have, guess not, I do have it here. I showed you how that new shock had a double jam nut up on top of it. Well, this is how the old one was. And I'm guessing it's original because it's actually painted black, like it's from the factory. They had just taken a flange nut, screwed it on, and welded it to the top of the thing. Kind of odd. But if you look down in there, you can kind of see it's been about 3/4 broke for a long time because the brake is full of rust. And so it was just waiting to go. But the one on that side, on the left-hand side, has a double jam nut on top. And so I kind of wonder if that left side hasn't been replaced, and if possibly this original setup might not have been a weak point that Case very quickly realized and learned about. And so yeah, that's what I ran into when I told you I had sprayer trouble here a couple days ago when I was knifing 28 on the corn. I talked to you about the sprayer. It was this big shock right here. And like I say, we got it put in, and it's working good. So that's just a little sprayer update. And so yesterday and today, I got all of our, well, what I call tilled beans all sprayed. I still have about 160 acres of no-till, but because I have already put a burn down on that, a 2,4-D and Roundup to kill down everything that was there before we actually planted the beans, they're good to go for at least another week, if not week and a half, before I need to spray those. And so I can definitely cover some ground with this thing, 90 feet wide. So yeah, that, like I say, that's just a little sprayer update that I got into, and I just want to show you all what I did. So take care. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.